Never start learning crochet with a big project. That's the #1 reason people quit after 2 days. In this video, I'm going to walk you through crochet from zero, step by step, using just one hook and one ball of yarn. No fancy tools, no experience needed. By the time this video is done, you'll have made a real piece of home decor with your own 2 hands, something you can actually put on your shelf and feel proud of. Now let's talk about why most people give up on crochet before they even get good at it. It's not because they're bad with their hands. It's not because they don't have patience. It's because of the way most people learn it. Here's what usually happens. Someone sees a cute crochet pillow or a cozy blanket online. They get excited, they run out and buy yarn and a hook, and then they open a pattern that says something like chain 20, SC in second chain from hook, SC across, turn. And their brain just shuts down. That's not English. That's a secret code, and nobody explained the code to them first. So they try to just copy a video frame by frame. Their hands get tired, their stitches get tighter and tighter because they're stressed, and after 20 minutes, they've got a twisted little rope of yarn that doesn't look like anything. They put it down, tell themselves they're just not a crafty person, and never pick it back up. But here's the truth. Crochet is not about being crafty. It's about knowing 4 or 5 simple moves and repeating them. That's it. Once your hands learn those moves, everything else is just patience and repetition. So let's start from the very beginning, the part almost every tutorial skips. First, the supplies. You do not need a huge yarn haul or 20 different hooks to start. All you need is one skein of medium weight yarn, the kind that usually says worsted or number 4 on the label, one hook that's around 5.5 millimeters, which is usually marked with the letter I, a pair of scissors, and a plastic needle for hiding your yarn ends later. That's the whole list. Cheap yarn from any craft store works fine for practice. You do not need the expensive stuff yet. Save that for later, once your hands know what they're doing. One more small tip before we move on. Since we're making home decor here, not just random practice pieces, think a little bit about color before you buy your yarn. Pick 2 or 3 colors that already exist somewhere in the room you want to decorate. Maybe a color from your curtains, your rug, or a pillow you already own. That way, whatever you make actually fits into the room instead of looking like it was dropped in from somewhere else. You don't need a whole rainbow of colors. 2 or 3 that work well together is plenty for almost every project we're about to cover. Now, how do you actually hold this thing? Hold the hook like you're holding a pencil or like you're holding a spoon, whichever feels more natural to your hand. There's no wrong way as long as it feels comfortable and you can control the tip of the hook. The yarn goes through your other hand. A lot of people wrap it around their pinky finger, then over the top of their fingers, and let it rest across their index finger. This gives you something called tension, which is just a fancy word for how tight or loose the yarn moves as you pull it through. Too loose and your stitches will be sloppy. Too tight and your hand will cramp up and your stitches will be almost impossible to work into. It takes a few rows to find your natural tension, so don't stress about getting it perfect right away. The very first move you'll learn is called a chain stitch. This is the base of almost everything in crochet. You start with a slip knot on your hook, then you pull the yarn through the loop that's already sitting on your hook, again and again, building a little chain like a train track. Every pull makes one link. This chain becomes the base row that you build all your other stitches on top of. A common mistake here is pulling each chain too tight, which makes it nearly impossible to work into later. Try to keep your chain relaxed, almost loose, like you're barely holding on to it. Once you've got a chain going, maybe 20 or so links long, it's time for the real building block, the stitch you'll use more than any other one as a beginner. It's called a single crochet. Here's the basic idea. You slide your hook into one of the chain links, you catch the yarn and pull it through so you've got 2 loops sitting on your hook, then you catch the yarn one more time and pull it through both of those loops at once. That's one single crochet stitch, done. You just repeat that same move across your whole chain, link by link, and when you get to the end of the row, you turn your work around and go back the other way. One thing that trips up almost every beginner around this point is losing count of their stitches. You start a row with 20 stitches and somehow you end up with 18 or 23 and you have no idea where you went wrong. This happens to everyone, even people who have been crocheting for years, so don't let it convince you that you're bad at this. The fix is simple. Every few rows, stop and actually count your stitches across the row before you keep going. If the number is off, it's much easier to fix right away than to keep building on top of a mistake for another hour and then have to pull it all out later. Counting feels slow at first, but it saves you so much frustration down the road. That's genuinely it. That single move done over and over is what builds fabric. It's what builds coasters, dishcloths, scarves, blankets, baskets, all of it. Every single project starts with the same repeating motion. The only thing that changes as patterns get more advanced is how many times you do it, where you do it, and whether you add a couple of extra loops on the hook before pulling through. But the core motion never changes. Now, here's where we start turning this into an actual piece of home decor instead of just practice fabric. Let's make something simple first, something you can finish in one sitting so you get that feeling of holding a finished object in your hands instead of a pile of loose stitches. We're going to make a small coaster. Start with a short chain, somewhere around 6 links. Instead of working straight across like before, this time you're going to work in a circle, which just means after your first row, you keep turning and stitching around and around the outside edge instead of stopping. Each time you go around, your circle gets a little bigger because you add a couple of extra stitches spaced out evenly around the edge. This is called increasing, and it's what keeps a flat circle flat instead of curling up into a bowl shape. Keep going around, adding your evenly spaced extra stitches until your circle is about the size of a small drink coaster, roughly 4 inches across. Then you finish off by cutting your yarn, pulling it through your last loop, and using your plastic needle to hide your yarn ends inside your stitches so it doesn't stick out anywhere. Look at that! You just made your first real piece of home decor with your own 2 hands, using nothing but a hook, some yarn, and one repeating motion. Make 3 or 4 more of these using different colors, and you've got a full coaster set sitting on your coffee table, something you made yourself instead of buying at a store. Once you're comfortable with that flat circle, we can level up into something bigger, something that turns heads a little more. Let's talk about a small basket, the kind that you can use to hold your remote controls, your mail, or little bits and pieces around your house. The idea is almost the same as the coaster, except instead of stopping once your circle is flat, you keep working in rounds without adding as many increases. So instead of getting wider, your fabric starts standing straight up, forming walls. That's the whole secret behind turning a flat circle into a basket shape. Flat base first, using the increase pattern from before, and once your base is the size you want for the bottom of your basket, you switch to working straight rounds with no increases, letting the sides rise up around the edge like a wall being built brick by brick. Chunky yarn works especially well for this kind of project because it grows fast and holds its shape without any stiffening spray or extra tricks. A basket like this usually takes an evening or 2 once you're comfortable with the stitches, and it's the kind of thing that looks like it came from a home decor store, except it came from your own hands on your couch. Once your walls are as tall as you want them, you can stop right there and call it finished. Or you can add one small detail that makes it look a lot more polished, a simple border around the top edge. This is just one more round worked into the top of your basket, usually using a slightly different stitch than the rest, which gives the top a neat, clean line instead of leaving it looking raw. If you want handles, you can even chain a length of stitches on each side and attach the ends to the basket, giving you something you can actually carry around the house instead of just setting on a shelf. None of this is required, but small details like this are what make a project feel finished instead of just stopped. This is usually the moment things click for people. You're not thinking about the stitch anymore. Your hands just know what to do, almost without thinking, while your mind can wander off or you can watch something in the background. That's the real goal here, not just finishing one project, but getting to the point where the motion feels natural instead of something you have to think through step by step every single time. And there's something